Welcome to the Courtroom Club. As part of the Jonker Vorster Attorneys team, I'm excited today to dive into a really practical area of South African commercial law.
Which is?
Discount transactions under the National Credit Act. It's something we see businesses grapple with all the time here.
Absolutely. Many of our clients use discounts, as a smart way to encourage quicker payments, which is obviously great for cash flow.
Definitely.
But the legal side, especially the NCA, well, it adds layers of complexity. We've actually put together some key information to clarify what exactly counts as a discount transaction legally.
And crucially, when the NCA actually kicks in.
Precisely. Think of this as a quick but essential briefing for anyone in your firm dealing with these kinds of incentives.
Okay, so our goal today is really to unpack this concept, highlight the key things you, our listeners, need to be aware of.
And ultimately help you understand how to structure these discount offers effectively, but also legally, compliantly.
Right. Let's get started then. So what do we here at Jonker Vorster actually define as a discount transaction under the NCA?
Okay. In simple terms, it's when a business acting as a credit provider offers a customer a lower price.
But there's a condition.
Yes. The condition is if they pay their bill before a certain earlier date.
So it's directly linked to paying early.
Yeah, exactly. It's that direct link between paying sooner and getting a reduced cost that really defines it.
Okay, can you give us a straightforward example,
Yeah.
something we often use?
Sure. Imagine selling, say, a service for R5,000, but you offer a 5% discount if the client pays within 15 days.
Okay.
So instead of R5,000, they'd only pay R4,750. That price reduction, purely for settling early, that's the core of a discount transaction.
Got it. So two key elements to really hold on to here. First, like we said, the discount is tied directly to when the payment happens.
Right, the timing.
And second, the customer gets a real, tangible financial benefit for paying up early. It's a deliberate incentive built right into the deal.
And this is actually where it's super important to differentiate it from something like incidental credit.
Okay, explain that difference.
Well, with incidental credit, think of like a late payment fee. The extra cost comes about more as a consequence because a customer didn't pay on time.
Right, it's reactive.
Exactly. Discount transactions are proactive. They're intentionally structured from the get-go to encourage a specific payment behavior. It's a key distinction the National Credit Regulator often focuses on.
Okay, that distinction is clear. So we know what it is and what it isn't. Now, let's look at how these actually play out. What are some common examples our clients might run into?
Oh, we see them everywhere. In retail, for instance, maybe a clothing store offers 10% off if you pay cash right there at the till.
Or use a specific store card, maybe.
Yeah, it could be. That's a
Yeah.
direct discount for immediate payment, essentially.
Or think about service providers. We have clients in landscaping, for example. They might offer a discount on the final bill if the client settles up within, say, a week of the job being finished.
Again, it's all about incentivizing that quick payment, speeding up cash flow.
Okay.
And even in B2B, business-to-business deals, a supplier might offer better pricing on a big order if the buying company agrees to pay in 30 days instead of their usual 60 or 90.
Right. It's all about managing that money flow and encouraging efficiency.
Exactly.
Okay, this leads us to a really critical question. It's something we advise our clients on all the time here at Jonker Vorster.
Which is?
When does one of these seemingly straightforward discount deals actually fall under the long arm of the National Credit Act? Because it's not every single discount, right?
That's absolutely crucial. The NCA only applies if the discount transaction actually meets the legal definition of a credit agreement.
Okay.
And there are a couple of key factors, triggers really, that can push a discount transaction into that regulated space.
Right. Let's unpack those triggers then. What specifically makes the NCA relevant here?
Okay, the first big one is if you, the seller, allow the customer to defer payment beyond your usual terms, even while offering the discount.
How does that work?
Well, in essence, the discount can then be seen as sort of a cost avoided by paying on time, but the option to pay later introduces a credit element. You're allowing delayed payment.
I see. And the second trigger?
The second one is if the discount itself is structured in a way that looks and feels like finance charges or interest.
For example?
Like if the discount gets smaller, the longer the person waits to pay, almost mirroring how interest might build up. If it has that kind of structure, the NCA is very likely to apply.
Okay, so if we offer a discount but also let people pay later than usual, or if the discount itself acts a bit like an interest calculation, That's when the NCA alarm bells should start ringing,
Precisely. And if those conditions are met, then as the credit provider, you absolutely have to comply with all the relevant NCA rules.
which includes.
Things like being completely transparent about all the terms and conditions, doing affordability assessments to check the customer, can manage the deferred payment. And potentially even registering with the National Credit Regulator, the NCR, if your overall credit activities hit certain financial thresholds.
Okay. Just for context, maybe quickly remind everyone listening why we even have the National Credit Act. What's its main purpose in South African law?
Sure. The NCA is really the cornerstone legislation for credit in South Africa. Its basic goals are to, foster a fair and transparent credit market.
Protect consumers.
Exactly. Protect consumers from unfair or dodgy credit practices and just generally promote responsible borrowing and lending behavior from everyone involved. It's about ethics in the credit market.
Okay, makes sense. So linking back to discounts, if a business offers what they think is just a simple discount, but it accidentally triggers the NCA and they don't comply, what happens? What are the potential downsides?
The consequences can be quite severe, actually. Firstly, the agreement itself, the sale agreement with the discount, could be declared unlawful, unenforceable by a court.
Which means you might not get paid.
Potentially, yes. You might not be able to legally recover the money owed. That's a huge risk for any business.
Definitely. What else?
Well, beyond that, the National Credit Regulator, the NCR, they have the power to impose pretty hefty administrative penalties for non-compliance.
How hefty are we talking?
We could be looking at fines up to 10% of your annual turnover or a maximum of R1 million, whichever amount is greater.
Wow. Okay, those are numbers that would certainly get anyone's attention.
They're not trivial amounts. And then, on top of the fines, consumers who feel they've suffered loss because a provider didn't comply,
They can sue.
they can potentially pursue claims for damages. And finally, there's the reputational hit. Being seen to flout consumer protection laws. That can really damage trust and credibility.
Okay, so it's crystal clear. While discounts are a useful commercial tool, getting the legal side wrong, particularly with the NCA, can be seriously damaging. Let's maybe shift focus slightly.
Oh.
What are the pros and cons of using these discount transactions? Thinking both from the business side and the customer side.
Right. Well, from the business perspective, the credit provider, a major plus, is improved cash flow.
That early payment incentive.
Exactly. You incentivize people to pay quicker, reduce your outstanding debtors, and get faster access to your working capital. It can also be a good way to build customer relationships, offering a tangible reward.
Makes total business sense.
Yeah.
But what about the potential downsides, maybe particularly for the customers who are offered these discounts?
For consumers, one potential trap can be a lack of clarity. If the terms aren't spelled out really clearly and transparently,
They might not understand the catch.
right, they might not fully grasp the conditions or what the actual cost is if they miss that early payment deadline. Also, critically, if the business should be following NCA rules but isn't,
The consumer loses out on protections.
precisely. They might miss out on the important protections the Act is designed to provide, like affordability checks or clear disclosure.
So clear, upfront communication seems absolutely vital for this to work well for everyone. What specific practical advice can we at Jonker Vorster offer businesses to help them navigate this safely, to stay compliant when using discounts?
Okay, first things first. If your discount practices, especially those involving any kind of deferred payment, look like they meet the NCA's definition of a credit agreement,
Yes.
then registration with the National Credit Regulator is probably necessary. That's step one.
Okay.
Secondly, absolute transparency. Make sure all the terms and conditions around the discount, including what happens if payment is late, are communicated to your customers clearly. Plain language, easy to understand.
Avoid jargon and hidden clauses.
Absolutely. No ambiguous language.
Are there any common mistakes you see businesses making? Things they should be particularly careful to avoid when setting these up?
Yes. A frequent slip-up is not fully checking if the discount terms align with NCA principles, especially, again, if there's any element of deferred payment involved.
It's assuming it's fine because it's a discount.
Yeah, kind of, yeah. Another common issue is using wording in contracts that might be seen as misleading or maybe not clearly stating the original price versus the discounted price and exactly what conditions unlock that discount. Clarity is everything.
Okay, good points. Let's maybe run through some of the questions we frequently get from our own clients about these discount transactions in the NCA, just to recap the essentials.
Good idea.
Starting with the most basic. What exactly constitutes a discount transaction again, under that legal definition?
Okay, to reiterate, It's when a business offers a lower price for their goods or services, if and only if the customer pays by a specific earlier date than the normal payment deadline. The financial benefit is directly linked to the payment timing.
Right. And broadly, how are these regulated in South Africa?
They fall under the National Credit Act's umbrella. If the discount offer meets the definition of a credit agreement under the Act, then all the NCA's consumer protected rules apply.
We touched on this, but it's worth hammering home.
Yeah.
The core difference, again, between incidental credit and these structured discount transactions.
The key is intention and structure. Incidental credit, like that late fee, usually happens unintentionally from the provider side due to the customer's delay.
Whereas discounts.
Discount transactions are deliberately designed by the business as a proactive incentive for early payment. It's planned.
Okay. And bringing it all together, the main potential consequences if a business gets it wrong and doesn't comply with the NCA when they should.
As we've covered, they risk their agreements being voided by courts, facing potentially huge fines from the MCR, possible damages claims from consumers, and significant harm to their business reputation.
Finally, a question we definitely hear a lot. Are all discount transactions, no matter how simple, subject to the NCA? Like a 5% off for paying cash today?
No, not necessarily all of them. The absolute crucial factor is whether the whole transaction meets the legal definition of a credit agreement.
So simple discounts for immediate payment.
Generally fall outside the NCA's scope, provided there's no hidden deferred payment option or anything resembling finance charges. It's really that element of extended payment time or disguised credit costs that acts as the trigger for the act to apply.
Okay. Well, as we've explored today, these discount transactions can certainly be a valuable tool for businesses, encouraging timely payments, fostering good customer relationships.
Definitely beneficial if done right.
However, it seems a thorough understanding of the National Credit Act is absolutely paramount to avoid some pretty serious legal and financial headaches.
That's the key message we really want to leave you with today. While offering a discount for paying early seems straightforward commercially.
It's the structure that matters.
Exactly. The way that discount is structured, the specific terms and conditions tied to it, that determines if it falls under the NCA's regulatory net. Any hint of deferred payment allowed or costs that look like finance charges, those are red flags that need careful legal review.
And here at Jonker Vorster Attorneys, our team is obviously dedicated to providing that expert guidance, helping you navigate these often complex legal waters.
Ensuring your business practices are fully NCA compliant isn't just about dodging penalties. It's really about building trust with your customers and operating sustainably.
Absolutely.
So if you are a business owner or even a consumer and you have more questions about discount transactions, about the NCA, about how it all fits together under South African law, please don't hesitate to reach out.
Our experienced team at Jonker Vorster Attorneys is here to help.
We can provide the expert advice and support you need to make sure your agreements are fair, crystal clear, and fully compliant.
Thank you for joining us on the Courtroom Club today. We certainly hope this deep dive into discount transactions under the NCA has given you some valuable insights for your own business dealings.
Indeed. Until our next discussion.